I want to talk about the Secret Service first. We just did a quick segment on it, on something that the Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner said, two things that were just shocking. But in general, Ron Johnson, your colleague, said, the more I learn, the worse it gets. Yeah. Where are you at with the near assassination?
I think Ron John's absolutely right. Look, there's organizational problems. There's cultural problems within the Secret Service. There was systemic failures on that assassination attempt. There were individual failures. Really, this is a crisis moment. We need to, we don't need to spend 6 months studying this. We know that it's a huge problem. They've lost 50% of their agents over the past year. We need a stud to go in there and fix this. Congress will really struggle trying to micromanage this. I think like a Mike Pompeo or, somebody with just an illustrious military career. There's some former Secret Service agents out there that could fix it as well. But we need a crisis management team in there yesterday to fix this. And this is where we have an absent commander-in-chief, right? This is the job of the President of the United States to say, damn it, this isn't working. I don't need to wait 6 months for a congressional investigation. Heads need to roll. We need to turn this place upside down and start over.
What was that fact? 50% of their agents resigned over the past year?
Exactly. It's 48%. I rounded up to 50.
That's fine. You're allowed. 48%. Wow, that's something.
Yeah.
What's that about? Now, I want to be clear about that because that's something. That says a lot about morale. Are those, because the Secret Service, correct me if I'm wrong, are they still in charge of like the Treasury as well? Like they still do currency manipulation stuff as well? Like, are the agents the ones who are protecting the president, or are they more like the money people?
Well, of course, we don't know that. You can just go to their website and they'll talk. When they do their own survey, a supermajority of the employees don't trust the leadership, and it's hard to see. Well, which agents are these? Are these the ones? There's 8,000 employees. I'm not sure. They don't even really break it down for us. It's part of this hidden swamp up here. And by the way, the rank and file Secret Service members, the people that threw their bodies on top of the president, every one of those people, I trust. They're trying to do their job the best they can under the circumstances. But look, you just take the situation where in Pennsylvania, there were 10 buildings within 500 yards of President Trump with a direct line of sight. There were multiple trees. I hunt deer. I'm a bow hunter out of trees with a little simple tree stand that I can assemble, in about 10 minutes. So, there was systemic failures, and it is going to be quite a challenge to protect anybody in an outdoor setting like that.
Well, that's what the Secret Service now apparently has asked President Trump to not have any more outdoor rallies. You're like, what the heck? Like that may be the greatest all time. This is why you can't have nice things story I've ever heard. You can't have an outside rally anymore in the United States of America because the Secret Service can't do its job. Like, what are you talking about? So where are you on the inside job spectrum?
Well, I'm not ready to go there yet. I think that there's a very simple motive. Happy to talk about that. I just think they're incompetent, and I know it's hard to make this up. If you're writing a Hollywood script, you couldn't make up all these things. It would just be unbelievable. But here you got a 20-year-old kid that wanted to be on the rifle team in high school. He's probably schizophrenic. I'm a physician. Just look, everything I read about him, he's probably schizophrenic. He has hallucinations. He's depressed. He's been bullied. They won't let him on the rifle team about 3 years ago. And he says, you know what? I'm going to show those people. And he's bullied all the time. I'm going to show those people. I'm going to learn how to shoot a rifle. And all of a sudden, this target, he wants this attention. He wants to show everybody that he knows how to shoot a rifle. And all of a sudden, this target presents, and it's almost so simple what he did. You couldn't plan it, right? He jumps up on an air conditioner thing and then hops up on the building, and people are yelling and screaming. And seconds later, he caps off 8 shots. And thank God for the Secret Service who was there that stopped us. It was a hard shot. I mean, all they could see is this guy's telescope and his forehead probably, and they did not miss.
I think that the one thing, if I may push back, is this. You say the word seconds. I think one thing that is most striking is how we're almost talking like hours from when he was spotted with a rangefinder.
Right.
And then yesterday, the Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner told us that one of the local police officers who was hoisted up and spotted the would-be assassin on the roof minutes went by. They said it yesterday during the hearing in the Homeland Security hearing, that minutes went by from that moment, the local police officer like spotting him up on the roof from when he, and then ended up taking the shot.
Yeah.
Like there's so much incompetence. I think it's tough for people. I'm with you on the incompetence thing, but there's so much of it. Like it's so mind-boggling that almost for your own sanity, you have to go into conspiracy theory zone because you can't go on living knowing that people can be that incompetent.
Well, I'm not trying to argue with you, and we'll see. That's why we do need a full-throated investigation. We need to turn over every stone. Let's figure it out. I mean, the seconds I was talking about, there's a video out there when they definitely see him with the gun on the rifle and they're yelling. Yes, it was an hour before that there was a person with a rangefinder. That's why I say there was multiple individual failures as well. And I understand there's lots of suspicious people at a crowd like that, but you have to pull them over. I just can't imagine my dad's the police officer running that part of the drill there, and some 20-year-old kid walks through with the rangefinder. I think you take him downtown and say, "What are you thinking, young man? Tell us about this." And I understand you probably get let go, but I think you still take him downtown and say, this is not a very smart thing to do. What are you doing with the rangefinder? And then there's multiple individual failures. But the big deal to me is the systemic failure. A systemic failure on the part of the Secret Service, the communications, everything the way it's set up. They were set up to fail that day.
Who's running the show there now? If the main woman left, who's now?
Yeah, it's the number 2 person, and I don't know his name. And
but do you have any trust in that person, or are we gonna have to wait till the next election to put someone like a Mike Pompeo or someone you mentioned earlier in there?
Well, we do have concerns, and I'm still digging through this person, but I'm concerned that this person does not have the experience to do the job, and I'm kind of shooting from the hip there. I've been talking to multiple retired Secret Service agents. I think that's where the best information is coming from. They couldn't get out of there soon enough. They could not retire soon enough. When they went to a DEI mandate, there was a lot of frustrated Secret Service members that left, and they have concerns. If they've got concerns, I've got concerns, if that makes sense.
Sorry. Any just final thought on that before we move to Kamala and what's next in the election? Any timeline or anything that you've learned so far of this whole thing that is most concerning to you when it comes to the incompetence?
I think it's just the systemicness of us, that it's an entire cultural problem, that when they became part of DHS, and we have a secretary that's been impeached that should no longer be there. Look, you got to start with the head of the snake. It's the leadership position. Yeah. Look, every organization I've been part of, it's always about the head coach. It's about the leadership. It's about the CEO. That's where it all starts. They set the standard. And again, Congress has a role in this. Our job is to say, look, we need to protect the president, these presidential candidates. It's the executive branch that has to do their job. The executive branch has failed. Joe Biden has failed. He has no clue. I would love for him to come on with your show and have this type of a conversation, and he would be totally incompetent. And then that ball just rolls downhill from there.
Or Mayorkas, right? So it's like, oh yeah, well that makes sense. Mayorkas is the head of the Secret Service there. All right, one step up.